Hello everybody and welcome back to Hearts of Iron, where we are currently working on this offensive, and we've made good progress. I wish I could, hang on, there's a hotkey to turn off the UI. F9? Yes. Okay, now we can see what's going on this line. We've made good progress on this, and that's absolutely wonderful. But we've got more to go. If we hop into the resource mode here, which surprisingly actually shows, you can see we've actually harvested a good amount of their steel production so far. But there's more to be had. And we're very, very interested. Oh, that turns it back on? F9 doesn't turn it back on, F10 does. Okay, well, we're just going to put ourselves in the default map mode and call it good. So we're going to continue to press out over this direction and just generally across this line. So we're going to push in here, and that seems great. Once we have all of this under control, then we want to dig in on the line and use this as a jumping off point for our next position. The real question is, what is that next position going to be? And how are our logistics going to look as we continue to push forward? We shall see. That'll be interesting. If we have an area where we stall out, we're definitely going to want to check the logistics of that area. But for right now, it's all looking good. We can just see here, and we're auto-saving right now. There we go. So we can see that we're definitely still making gains along this front. And that is absolutely wonderful. That is exactly what we want to be seeing. Down over here, things are a little spicier. But we want to continue to try to push in over here. And it looks like we're working on it. Kind of. Let's have these guys assist this attack, and we'll see if we can push these out. As of right now, that's not the biggest of concerns. What we're mostly concerned about doing here, and this tile right here has gone back and forth a number of times here. What we're mostly concerned about doing here is denying them access to their steel. That's the goal right now. And us getting to use the steel is a minor thing, because there's going to be a big lack of compliance in a lot of these areas. Although this is already up to 20%. Probably because we've held this for a while, or chunks of this for a while, would be my guess. But that's good. That means that we already have 247 steel here. That's a pretty big deal. Well, 141. Okay, and that's definitely having some issues, but that's going to boost up our steel production, which is a very big deal for us. No doubt about that. So that all seems good for the time being. We're just going to continue to push in over here. Now, out over this direction, we're trying to attack over here, and I'm not entirely sure why. Okay. Well, that's exciting. This tile here is a tile that we're going to want to dig in on. But most of the rest of this offensive, this tile is one that we're going to want to dig in on. Most of the rest of this offensive has not yet managed to reach its target position. So we're going to have to continue forward here, and that's absolutely fine. So the real question is, from here, how do we want to proceed? We don't want our line to get too long. So one thing I'm thinking about doing is wrapping this line around, cleaning out this, and then bringing it up over here, and then pushing this direction in kind of an L shape. That would be a very long line indeed. But if we can push in an L shape and get pushing this way, that might be slightly better for us. Alternatively, a diagonal line like this would be actually a fairly similar line length to what we have right now. That's assuming Ukraine doesn't capitulate. How close are they? Okay, they're nowhere near. Sounds good. We are getting close to Kyiv, though, so they might capitulate at some point. So this guy has a trait available. We're going to grab Armor Specialist. This is our Armor Army group. So that seems fine. We're going to grab Panzer Expert as well. And then this guy, he can take Guerrilla Fighter, I guess. Sure, that'll be fine. So we're just going to continue pushing up. This is now a position where we're on our desired line. So we're going to build land forts there. And that's absolutely wonderful. I would love to see a push happening right here, right now. And then we can see if we can bring in guys right here, tanks here and here, like this. And then I'd love to get a similar attack going right up over here from multiple angles. That would be something kind of like that. Okay. So we're on the line down over here now in multiple locations. Let's get those set up correctly. We took this position, and in order to get on the line, we need to take this position. So I definitely want to try an attack here, but I don't... Actually, that's going pretty okay. We got it. Remarkable. So that's absolutely great, and we want to get this land fort built here. Now the question is, how are the logistics looking in this area? Actually, they're not too bad, all things considered. We can run a naval base motorization over here. We can run a motorization here. This can be motorized. This can be motorized. It might reach a little bit. Actually, we can't motorize this, apparently. Okay, that's exciting. We can motorize this. We can motorize this. We can motorize this. And logistics overall are pretty okay. So that's not a significant issue there. So we definitely do want to get any other land forts on the line. This one's on the line. So we'll start constructing there. Excellent. We've got an autosave occurring. There we go. And this entire area out over here is now on the line. So that looks perfect. This we would need to build some land forts on. But out over this direction, we've still got a little ways to go for most of this line here. We're in a pretty good position, though. A pretty good position indeed. We just need to continue to push up towards Kursk. That's our main goal at this moment. And this push is going well. So I'm not particularly concerned about this right now. And as I said, this is going to absolutely cripple their war effort. Even if they weren't already crippled with their manpower shortage, this would be devastating. They just lost about 400 steel. Maybe more than that. I mean, we're not getting the full amount here. So they still have a decent amount of their steel up over here, but that's going to go away as we continue to push up into Kursk. Their mine is primarily located here, and take it. Get them out of here. This mine is our primary goal, and it's ours. So that's absolutely wonderful. So at this point, we do want to be digging in on this line anywhere that is not already, but it pretty much already is. This stuff back here, I'm not going to be too concerned about. We can maybe build in the background if we feel like we really need to. But for the moment, just this mine falling is huge. Absolutely enormous at this moment. Now, can we do anything to improve these mines? The answer is no, but that's okay. We can definitely exert heroism and frugality. That'll be okay. And let's see. I'd like to push here. I don't know how realistic that is. Let's see if we can get it. Looks like we can. Perfect. So that's right on the line. We can definitely build there. Looks good. Out over this direction, we've got 2 locations on the line that I'd like to take here. Let's see how these go. We can start attacking over here. Excellent. This attack is a little rough over here. I'm going to assist it with our infantry here. Okay, so we got this position. That's excellent. We need to get that building. That's on the line. And then out over here, these are the provinces that are on the line. We're very, very, very close to our desired line at this moment, but we're not quite there. And I want to continue to push in on these fronts over here. So we want to push here, and we don't really have any tanks here right now, but we can see what happens with some of these pushes. The answer is not a whole lot, but I'm not terribly shocked about that. Actually, we took this? That I am shocked about. This I'm not shocked that we took, but this, absolutely I'm shocked about that one. So let's get all of these going up over here, and we definitely have more goals to take here. So at this moment, we're primarily focused on taking Kursk, and that is fine. Actually, we're doing very well on our Kursk attack. We might be about to take this. Taking Kursk is a big deal out over here. I want to look at their logistics in this area. Oh yeah, this is a very big deal. This is their only major logistics hub in this area. So Kursk falling means that the rest of this area likely falls. And there goes Kursk. So that's perfect. We do want to push just beyond Kursk to take the actual state boundaries. What happened out over here? Oh, awkwardness ensued. I see. Why don't you guys get up here and just get this taken care of? Hopefully we can get that fixed. And be less awkward. Okay. It's still a little awkward, but it's less awkward. So that seems fine for the moment. We still have some line to reach, no doubt about that. Out over this direction, I'm thinking about shortening the front line here to this point. About like that. And really what that means is we want to take this position, right? That's what that really means here. We'll see if we can grab it. That would be great. Because that's part of... Actually, we don't actually need this. I think that became slightly awkward there. That's fine, though. So we do want to still grab some territory up this direction, for sure. So at this moment, I want to delete this offensive line. And I want to check in. So that looks good. This looks not so good. We need a little bit more here. And then this stayed up here. We do still need a chunk of this. Okay. So that seems fine. I want our offensive line here to be about like this. But then I want to draw an additional offensive line to be out here where we are getting the entirety of this state. Like that. Okay. We're not actually getting this right now. Noted. That's fine. And these guys immediately forgot what they were going after up here. That's exciting. That's very exciting. Well, I guess for the moment it's fine. We'll call it good enough. We're continuing to attack out over here, but I'm just going to dig in on this line as it is right now, and then we'll start pushing from here for our next goals. And we'll need to figure out what those next goals are, of course. That's going to be a pretty major thing that we need to consider. So I'm going to delete these orders right here. We're just going to call this good for our line. And we're going to start digging in there. And then the next question is, where do we want to have some additional units here? Well, for this, I want to go for like elastic defense. There we go. Okay. So out over here, I'm thinking that we consolidate our tank forces about here. We punch a line out to here. And then we clean up their back line. And then we loop around and we attack Kyiv. That's what I'm thinking right now. So what that would look like is we would front line here, but we don't want this front line to be nearly this lengthy. We would want this to come back to be about here or so. With the offensive line being like this. Yeah, that'll work. So we're going to start redeploying for that, and in the meantime, we really hope that our infantry take some of these positions back. Get up here, guys. I'm going to grab 2 of these units, or 1 at least, and have him go here, and then 1 is going to go here. I don't want us abandoning these positions on the line. Okay, looks like we've got it under control. So our tanks are falling back, and we are, well, not really falling back. They're redeploying. I'm noticing we do have a supply issue right here, and that's not terribly shocking. Let's build a supply hub about there, and then we'll just hook that into our network. Sure, something kind of like that. And then we've got a hub up over here, which can be motorized. Out over this direction, this hub can be motorized as well. And I think building a new hub somewhere around here would make a lot of sense. Otherwise, this looks pretty good. We could argue that a new hub out over here would make sense somewhere, but realistically, I'm guessing, yeah, they've got one right here. So I think for right now, this seems fine. So we're just waiting for our tanks to get into position here right now. And eventually that will happen. We just are repeatedly being attacked over here, but that's okay. So I just want to check in. We definitely need defenses here. Defenses here, here, and here. Okay. That's all the fortifications I'm going to queue up for right now. So that looks good, and our tanks are nearly in position over on this flank. So that looks good for now. We do have a few tank units still trickling in. But overall, it seems fine. So at this moment, if we take a look at the resource map mode, oh, that's bad for Ukraine. That's really bad. This was the bulk of their steel that they just lost. So that's really, really rough for them. They do still have some steel out over here, and we're angling for that next. So that's absolutely fine. We will deprive them of all of their steel access. So I'm just waiting for these tanks to get into position over here, and then we're going to launch this attack. We have a very, very dense tank population over here. So we should be able to punch through this pretty easily, in theory. Go. Oh yeah, that's going well. Perfect. So we're going to punch in here with our tanks, and we've encircled these guys already. Remarkable. Why don't you help out with that attack? Fantastic. So this is, again, another very dire situation for Ukraine. There's very little that they can do in this situation. I want to motorize up this hub, although it's not a well-connected hub, and we're going to want to make sure that it gets a rail connection out over here. So we'll get that underway. These Ukrainian forces that are encircled are going away now. There we go. And all of our forces that were dedicated towards that are going to change this, or rather are going to redeploy. And that seems good. So really what we're trying to do here is we're just trying to punch up to this border. That's our overall idea. Just take Lviv and it should be fine. I don't really care about pushing northward all that much, but this is dramatically lengthening our lines as of right now. This is a short-term issue, but it is an issue for sure. But they're proving very unable to stop this push. So that's excellent. What I'm waiting for right now is for this to break into two fronts, which it will do fairly soon here. But this push is going swimmingly. This is absolutely excellent. And they have a lot of forces that are going to be theoretically trapped down here. I really want to take this position. If we can take the naval base in Bessarabia here, they have no other naval bases. So let's move in and take that. And what else are we interested in doing here? Well, the naval base in Bessarabia has fallen now. Perfect. And we're just continuing to try to push up over this direction. Now, supplies are starting to get thin for us up here. We can motorize this hub, but that's the furthest we can get supplies. And the rail connection out here is tenuous at best. Let's get some work going on that. That'll be fine for now. If Lviv falls, that's another logistics hub. There's also one in the mountains here. So that's noted. The question is this push going to stall out? Because this push stalling out at this moment would be very bad. We would really very much like it to not stall out. Did we just get the logistics hub here? Actually, we did. Okay, that's a big deal. We need to convert the rail gauge here, I think. Actually, it's the correct gauge. We just need to get some of these going. And we do have some supplies up over here, but we're outpacing our supplies a little bit at this moment. So that's understood. We just need a couple more provinces here, and we can start dramatically shortening our lines here. This is a very, very long line, and that's understood. That was always going to be the concern about doing this. The real question here is, are we going to be able to push in enough here, right? That's the question. We just need to cut them off so that they have no corridor here. That's the goal. And we're very close to doing this. But supplies are dangerous. No hub here. I feel like there should be one. I'm going to build a supply hub right here, and we're going to start upgrading this section of railroad, this section of railroad. That'll be fine. Now, we don't have many infantry out over here right now, and that's absolutely understood. We're so close at this moment. We're so close to pushing in. Just a little further. It doesn't have to be much. This attack here. We got him. Okay. Dig in right there. I don't care about this one. Hang on. I don't care about this one. Dig in right here. Hi, console. Okay. So they're now cut off over here. This means that we need our tanks to have an offensive line, and that offensive line is going to be down like this. Perfect. So we're going to start attacking on a broad front in the south. In the north, we're less concerned about the attacks. We're going to dig in the north once we get to these lines, and we are going to just hold there. The south is where we want to focus right now because we have dramatically cut them off. Very, very dramatically here. So we need to continue to push down here, and that's indeed exactly what we want to do. Get in here. Keep pushing. We want to take Bucharest as soon as possible. So I want these guys to push down to here, like this. Perfect. We got them. Okay. So now that they're split like that, we can have these guys just hang out about here, and we're just going to push in and eliminate all of these forces. These guys are going to start pushing up this direction. Up over here, we need to eliminate the units that are here. So they're going to come in like this. Beautiful. And then we also need to have an offensive line that's going to be out in Pressburg, like this. Okay, as far as this goes, we are at our line up here. So they can stop doing what they're doing. And we do want to have a line of defenses up here. The question is this the position we really want this line to be? Well, it doesn't actually matter, I don't think. I think this is completely okay. So we'll get going on that. That seems fine. We're continuing to push up this direction, but we've crushed the Ukrainian army very thoroughly in this episode. Like, that was some absolutely crushing defeats for them. Let's check in here. 27.25 versus 18.15. Okay. And they're down, like, I think that's like 3 million manpower, isn't it? That's insane. And we're still working through this, by the way. So we're still going to punch through here, and that's fine. I want to check on the supply situation up over here. Okay, so I think it's very clear that we should be, A, raising up the priority of all of this. And also these. Anything else in here? I mean, there's those anti-air guns. I don't care about that. Okay, this should go up to the top as well. There we go. Next, we're going to need to definitely build a logistics hub about here. I'm going to build a logistics hub about here. And that should be pretty okay as far as all this goes. So then we're going to want to connect this in here and then this in here. And then we're going to want to make sure that that's connected. And I'm just going to run a connection about like that as well. Okay. So that seems fine. This hub is going to get motorized. Seems good. And then these hubs out over here, they can get motorized as well. There's a number of them out here, and we don't really need all of them, but this is absolutely fine for right now. So we'll get these in here. That'll be fine. This has no connection. Whatever. I don't really care. We'll just get all of that motorized on up, and that looks good. Okay. So now we just need to take out these guys over here. And there is a mine out over here. So this is another big chunk of their steel that's going to go away. And that looks good. They don't have supplies out over here in any meaningful way, and our tanks are going to very successfully push in here. This is not a problem. So we're about to take the iron mine out over this direction, which again is an absolutely huge deal. Absolutely enormous. They're trying to defend it, but to what end? They can't. They absolutely can't. So these guys are going to get redirected out over here eventually, and they're going to take their position on the standard line. So that's absolutely wonderful, but we definitely need some defenses up here. Let's get some of that going. And also over this way, apparently. We've pushed out a little further. Understood. So we might want to take a moment to regroup and figure out what we've got going on here. And figure out what our next move is at this moment. So we may want to stop attacks for a little bit, or, well, not attack significantly. We don't have ordered attacks ongoing right now, other than this attack on the mine, which is about to be over. Everybody, just get in here. Wipe them out. Perfect. There we go. So that's now done, and all of these forces are going to be redeployed up over this way, which is perfect. It's exactly what we need them to be. Lviv is being attacked and is close to falling. Did we take Kyiv? No, we're right on the border of Kyiv. Okay, perfect. So Kyiv is going to fall fairly soon. You can see that Ukraine is 38% towards capitulation at this moment. That was a lot, but we also took a lot of their territory. And we can see we're at minus 491, and that's just going to get better as compliance in these areas improves. So that's absolutely fantastic. It is time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we're going to start consolidating this position a little bit, and we're probably going to start pushing through... I'm tempted to push this way, like we did over here. That bulge is going to mean a very long line. Very, very long. So I don't know. But if we pushed like this, that would be interesting. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge, STL, Spock, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.